Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. This is the Random Hot Topics channel. This is your host, Brandon. And boy, am I excited today. I'm very excited. I've got a video, Jordan versus LeBron, best GOAT comparison. Now, I didn't get this video recommended to me. I was talking with a friend of mine, and he's seen this video and said it breaks down stats and everything. And I said, okay, I gotta watch this and do a reaction to it. So I can't believe I hadn't seen it. Anyway, so all right, here we go. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, share the video, hit the notification bell, all that stuff. Please help me get monetized. I've got 135 subscribers as of this video. I need 500 to be able to start making some money. I think it's 500, the lowest level. So anyway, if you get some enjoyment out of this, please hit the like button. I try to keep it entertaining as much as I can. So enough of that. I know every YouTube video has e-begging on it, but it's something you have to do. All right, so let's jump into the video here. All right, ready to start. Danger Productions. I like that. When you're good at something, you'll tell everyone. When you're great, yeah. Hey, that's a great. People that are good at stuff don't brag about how good they are, because they know, and they know that other people know. Real quick, I don't want this video to be too long, but about that, there was this a saying in golf. I think that somebody said this about Jack Nicklaus. And Jack Nicklaus was, if you don't know, he was the guy before Tiger Woods. And he said Jack Nicklaus knew going into the last day that he was going to beat you. He knew that you knew he was going to beat you, and he knew that you knew that he knew he was going to beat you. I think that's how it went. It was pretty good. That's a good one, I thought. All right, here we go. Tongue all out, my man. I wore my colors because I'm a Jordan fan, full disclosure. I had to wear some red to represent. And I'll give it to LeBron. He's very good, but there will never be another Michael Jordan. I mean, it's like a Tiger Woods, man. I mean, LeBron, I just don't think. It's a combination of things. The way the game was played when Michael Jordan was playing, it wasn't just chunking up threes. It was, it was just the threes were strategic. And but LeBron's played in a lot of different types. He's played so long.
LeBron.
All right.
LeBron versus Jordan. It's a debate that has captured the public's attention for the last several years, especially after this moment in 2016 when LeBron James beat the Golden State Warriors to win the third championship of his career. In LeBron's own words,
that one right there made me the greatest player of all time. That's how I felt. I was like,
I will give him that. That was pretty. That was pretty Michael Jordan-esque. Just willing his way and almost winning a championship by himself when he went back to Cleveland and basically won one almost by himself.
That one right there made you the greatest player of all time.
But did it? Is everything since that?
See, he's already talking about. Is he saying that he's the greatest player? It goes back to that saying. He wants to be the greatest player, but Michael Jordan's never claimed to be the greatest player because he knows he is.
It did make me the greatest player of all time.
Yeah,
I was like,
Brian, check your ego, man. I mean, come on, you're good.
Is everything since that moment simply icing on LeBron's cake? Or is LeBron destined to finish his career in Michael Jordan's shadow?
If he knew that, if he knew that he was, he wouldn't. There would be no need. He wouldn't even say that if he knew that he was better than Michael Jordan. But deep down inside, he knows he's not. That's why he's saying that stuff.
We've all heard the arguments from LeBron supporters.
He's bigger, he's stronger.
He doesn't have the mental capacity. It doesn't matter about
Jordan
this.
supporters.
Michael Jordan was merely 6-0 with 6 MVPs in the finals.
But the GOAT debate isn't as simple as the pundits make it seem. There are a number of factors relevant in determining the greatest basketball player of all time. In fact, I would say there are 5 things that really matter when determining the GOAT of any sport.
Where this is going.
These criteria are, in no particular order, accomplishments, longevity, winning, statistics,
looks better.
and what we'll refer to in this video as the eye test.
Eye test.
And to be the GOAT, you don't need to be the best in any specific category, but you need to be pretty good across the board. So simply winning 7 championships, like Robert Horry did, isn't enough to
That's
get you out
right.
of the conversation.
Robert Horry, I remember that. He won
Well, I'll
7,
finish
but
with this video.
he was just
plainly obvious that one
with
of
the right
guys is
teams.
on top. But before we get started,
He was a good player,
I want
though.
to clarify that this is not a comparison of legacies. It's about who is the better basketball player. If we were talking about legacies, Jordan's is nearly untouchable. Not only did he lead basketball to global popularity, he helped transform Nike into an empire, changed the way players played and how they dressed, and he even made it cool for guys to be bald. And while those things certainly contribute to MJ's iconic status, they don't make him a better player on the court. So let's evaluate the criteria that matter, and we'll start with individual accomplishments. Take a look. Jordan had more regular season MVPs, twice as many finals MVPs, 9 more scoring titles, and several...
And when this video was 3 years ago. God, that's so bad on my recent basketball history. Has LeBron won one since this? Oh, gosh.
several more selections to the NBA's All-Defensive team, including once being named Defensive Player of the Year.
Look at all that.
LeBron has more All-Star appearances, but that's largely due to his having played more seasons.
Because he never
In
went to
fact,
college.
when taking into
Like
account
Michael Jordan
retirements and
did.
major injuries, Jordan essentially played 13 seasons compared to 17 seasons for LeBron, making Jordan's significant lead in accomplishments all the more impressive. And that's to say nothing of MJ's brilliant college career, which saw him twice named All-American and once awarded College Player of the Year, at a time when the country's best players actually went to college.
That's a great
So
point.
regardless of whether you're a LeBron fan or
I
an MJ
remember it.
fan,
That's
you have to
the
give the
point I made, I
accomplishments
think, in the
to
previous
Jordan.
video.
The second criteria in our GOAT
You
analysis
can't.
is longevity.
Okay,
And
this
one
is going
also
to have to go
but this
LeBron.
time in favor of LeBron.
It's got to be, yes.
Not only has
Because
LeBron
he
played more seasons in the league, but he's had a longer peak than Jordan.
has. And
Jordan's peak
LeBron,
lasted
I
about
tell you
10
what, I'll give that to
years, whereas
LeBron.
LeBron's peak has lasted 16 years. and
LeBron
he's still
is,
going. And he's been incredibly durable during
spent
that
a lot
time,
of money,
missing significant time to injury
very
in
taking himself
2016.
very seriously.
That said, the
Taking
claim
his
that
health.
LeBron has been much more durable than Michael has been a bit overblown. Consider that Jordan played in at least 80 regular season games 11 times in his career, including all...
I don't know about more durable than Michael Jordan. Now, they may be talking about maybe over the season, but in one game, I mean, Michael Jordan, when he played in games, he played almost every single minute of every game. I mean, they might sub him out for 5 minutes in total. They give him just cut down a couple of breaths, but he had the most amazing endurance. And I don't know how he did it. He smoked cigars, but it was. I'm telling you, man, it's something mental, like him and Tiger Woods and people like that have. It's something they have mentally. They have a crazy drive.
82 games an incredible 9 times. Compare that to LeBron, who played in at least 80 regular season games just twice, and in all 82 games just once. So both LeBron and Jordan get high marks for their durability. But durability aside, the bottom line is that LeBron has sustained his level of
LeBron
excellence
is
for
very
a much
durable.
longer period of time than Jordan.
I just don't know about
checkmark squarely on LeBron's form.
definitely longevity. I totally agree with that.
Criteria: winning. As we all know,
Just don't go to Michael
6
Jordan. Something's wrong.
championships.
It's gotta go to
LeBron has
Michael
won
Jordan.
3. Jordan is 6-0 in the NBA Finals. LeBron is 3-6. Yes, LeBron has made the finals 9 times compared to only 6 times for Jordan. But let's not pretend that making the finals is the same thing, or even close to the same thing, as winning a title. Take a prime example from another
Great
sport,
point.
the Buffalo Bills. They're the only team in NFL
Second place is the first loser.
history to appear in 4 consecutive Super Bowls. But is there a single player or fan of that team that wouldn't trade all 4 of those appearances for just one Super Bowl win? Frankly, talk to any fan whose team lost the season's final game and ask them how they felt afterward. Almost universally, their feelings are of sadness, anger, and disappointment. And that's just the fans. For players, those feelings are only magnified. Listen to Charles Barkley talk about losing in the NBA Finals.
I bet that does hurt. Especially when you get to the NBA Finals.
I had to. I was frustrated because I couldn't wheel my team past Michael and the Bulls, and it. First of all, I don't think I've ever gotten over it. Number one, but that was traumatic, and it's painful.
So we can all stop with this false equivalence between winning the championship.
Michael Jordan humbles you. Somebody like Charles Barkley, great basketball player, and the Pistons, and Michael Jordan comes out there and just spanks them like babies. And as somebody, if I play competitive golf, and I'm telling you, it really hurts when you play. You get good. And you play and you lose, it's hard to be a man about it.
Championship and finishing runner-up. In the words of Herm Edwards,
you play to win the game. Hello? You play to win the game.
Yeah.
Now back to Jordan and LeBron. As mentioned, on basketball's biggest
Simple
stage,
as that.
the NBA Finals, Jordan was 6-0. LeBron was 3-6. And frankly, that doesn't even show how lopsided their records really are. In terms of individual finals games, Jordan was 24-11. LeBron is 18-31. And that's because in 4 of his 6 finals losses, LeBron's team hasn't even been competitive. Twice he got swept, and 2 other times he lost 4-1. That includes being on the wrong side of the 2 most lopsided finals by margin of loss in NBA history. Of course, LeBron fans will tell you that the only reason for LeBron's 4 finals record is that his competition was so tough. Ironically, some of these same fans criticized Jordan for losing early in his career to a Celtics team.
The competition's so tough. There's some good players in the NBA. The Golden State Warriors are really hard to beat, and we're a team. But come on, you had Bird, the Pistons, Bird and Celtics. The Pistons were unstoppable with Robin and Isaiah Thomas. Come on now.
With 5 Hall of Famers, and they conveniently gloss over the fact that LeBron reached the finals so many times in part because the competition in his own conference was so weak. During the vast majority of his career, LeBron played in what many dubbed the Leastern Conference because the East was so much weaker than the West.
I never heard of that.
During Jordan's playing days, the East was generally considered the stronger conference, as Jordan had to battle through hard-fought rivalries against the Bad Boy
Reggie Miller,
Patrick Ewing's Knicks,
Patrick Ewing's Knicks,
and Reggie Miller's
all those. Look at that. I forgot about Reggie Miller and Shaq
and the
and.
level of his competition. I won't argue with you, but let's also not blow it out of proportion. If you look at the average number of wins of their finals opponents, you'll see that LeBron's finals opponents averaged 60.8 wins per season, whereas Jordan's finals opponents averaged 61.2 wins per season. So as it turns out, both players faced the competition in the finals. But a big reason we don't hold the 93 Suns, the 96 Sonics, or the 98 Jazz in the same regard as some of LeBron's finals opponents is because, unlike LeBron's adversaries, Jordan's opponents never actually won the Larry O'Brien Trophy. Which goes to my original point, that the difference between winning the title and finishing runner-up is huge. And the reason those teams never won the title? This guy. Look, I'm not trying to say that Jordan's opponents were as good as the Warriors teams that LeBron faced 4 times in the finals. The truth is that Jordan never played a juggernaut quite like that.
That's a great point. I'll give that to LeBron, because there is not probably there's never been a team like the Warriors, and probably it never will be. Because you know, you don't ever know. I'm sure there'll be somebody come along and beat Steph Curry. I'm sure nobody ever thought Steph Curry would come along and not only beat the 3-point record, but just absolutely beat it by a light year.
But there's a pretty good reason for that. Jordan's Bulls were the juggernaut. They were the team winning 70-plus games.
Yeah, that's
they
interesting.
were the team with the target on their back every year. And as the Warriors showed us, that's not an easy place to be. As great as the Warriors were, they were never able to string together 3 consecutive championships. Jordan's Bulls did it twice. So what's the greater achievement? Beating the juggernaut or being the juggernaut? Or to be more specific, beating the juggernaut 1 time out of the 4 times you faced them? Or being the juggernaut year after year after year?
And never losing.
Year after year after year. There's no doubt that LeBron's victory over the 73-win Warriors
Many
was the
different
highlight of his
teams
career.
Jordan beat.
But it's not the first time that an underdog has won the championship. And there actually have been much
I remember that
underdogs
one
who ended
there.
up winning the title.
When he beat
But how many times have
LeBron.
we seen a player lead his team to 6 championships in 8 years? Prior to Jordan's Bulls,
6
only
in
the
8 years.
Boston Celtics ever accomplished that feat in the NBA, where they incredibly won 11 championships in 13 seasons. However, back then, there was an average of less than 10 teams in the league, and only a couple rounds of playoffs, so it was considerably easier to win a title. And no player, not even Bill Russell, ever had a run of winning 25 of 26 playoff series, as Michael Jordan did. And Michael's pattern of winning goes beyond the NBA. Let's not forget that Jordan has never won anything but gold in the Olympics, and he also earned an NCAA championship, in which he hit the first of 2 iconic championships.
It's just that there's something in people like Michael Jordan in their brains, like in Tiger Woods. Everybody wants to be able to perform in these high, like the game-winning shot. I'm sure I know Michael Jordan's missed some game-winning shots, but I just, there's a reason that Michael Jordan has these plays. LeBron's got some, some plays, but some like 3-point flick plays, but I don't know. I think I would like to know the amount of buzzer beaters. It would have to be Jordan over LeBron. That would be interesting, and maybe they'll talk about that.
Winning shots in his career. All that is to say, when it comes to winning, the checkmark clearly goes to Jordan.
Okay, so that's 3 topics in that game. 2 to Jordan. What was it? So LeBron got longevity. What's the
On
other
to the
one?
4th GOAT criteria, statistics. This one is a bit more complicated.
This might be interesting
How
because
do you statistically evaluate 2 players who played in different eras?
and LeBron has played longer, so
One way of doing it is to simply look at the 8 traditional statistics of basketball. Points, assists, rebounds, steals, blocks, field goal percentage, free throw percentage, and turnovers. And we'll focus on per-game stats rather than cumulative stats, since cumulative stats, such as total career points and total career assists, really speak to longevity, which is already its own...
look at that. You don't ever see anybody do the sky hook anymore. I just saw Kareem out there. Yeah, that's such a great throw, and it's so unblockable. I don't know why people don't use it, or some of the tall guys don't try it anymore. Weird.
Category of the GOAT analysis. Per-game stats, on the other hand, is more of an apples-to-apples comparison. So looking at the 8 traditional stats, we see that Jordan leads LeBron in 5 of them: points per game, steals per game, blocks per game, free throw percentage, and fewer turnovers. LeBron leads in the other 3: assists per game, rebounds per game, and field goal percentage. But that's a pretty simplistic way of looking at statistics. What if we instead try analytics? Probably the most well-known analytics stat is player efficiency rating, or PER.
This play was so sick.
This metric was created by respected basketball analyst John Hollinger to give an overall rating to a player's performance based on traditional stats like the ones we just mentioned. Jordan has led the league in PER 7 times, LeBron 6 times. Jordan has finished top 3 in PER 10 times, LeBron 9 times. In fact, Jordan has the highest career PER in both the regular season and the playoffs. Another popular analytics stat is win shares.
That's interesting.
Jordan has led the league in win shares 8 times, LeBron 5 times. Jordan has finished top 3 in win shares 11 times, LeBron 6 times. And when it comes to win shares per 48 minutes, Jordan has the highest career rating in both the regular season and the playoffs. What about box plus minus? Until recently, LeBron was actually ahead of Jordan in career box plus minus. But after the 2017 season gave Russell Westbrook the greatest single-season box plus minus in history by a wide margin, the architect of box plus minus realized that the stat was fundamentally flawed. So he made some changes to improve its formula. As a result, Michael Jordan now has the highest career box plus minus in both the regular season and the playoffs.
Wow.
And lastly, what about value over replacement player, which on its face seems to fit?
Okay, it looks like to me, so far Jordan's cleaning house. I don't know if these are cherry-picked stats or what. Because I know there are way more stats than this in every sport. There's so many stats. I don't know if these are the most important. Let me know what you think in the comments. Are these cherry-picked stats from a biased Michael Jordan fan to make Michael Jordan look better? What do you think? I'd love to hear if anybody sees this. Let me know in the comments.
Favor LeBron James. Well, value over a replacement player is a cumulative stat. As previously noted,
but to be fair, he is giving LeBron, he's already gave him longevity. And he's giving him stats, so we'll see what it
more to longevity ends. Than they do game-to-game dominance. That said, according to value over replacement player, Jordan owns 6 of the 9 greatest individual seasons ever played. And on a per-game basis, MJ's career rating in value over replacement player is the highest of all time in both the regular season and the playoffs.
Wow.
Are you noticing a theme here? Not only does Jordan beat LeBron in every ratable analytics stat, he consistently ranks as the best ever across the board. Before we move on from analytics, I want to mention a lesser-known stat called game score, another brainchild of John Hollinger. Game score measures a player's performance in a single game, so it won't tell us who's had the better career, but it does provide insight into who's had the greatest games. Now, we only have game scores
that's Jordan.
1983.
Gotta be. Jordan's had more, like 50-plus games than anybody. 50-plus point games you gotta have.
Incredibly, 19 of them belong to Michael Jordan. In other words, nearly 1 out of every 5 of the best.
Right.
That said, of the 100 highest game scores ever recorded, incredibly, 19 of them belong to Michael Jordan.
Wow.
In other words, nearly 1 out of every 5 of the best single-game performances over the last 4 decades has been by MJ. That includes the highest game score of all time for Jordan's 69.18 rebound masterpiece. Comparatively, LeBron has had only 3 of the top 100 game scores. When discussing the GOAT, Nick Wright is fond of asking this
19 versus 3.
Come down. You have 1 game to save humanity. Who's your first pick in the history of the world?
Well, Nick, I think we have our answer. Now that I've finished drowning you in numbers, let's be real. Hardly anyone watching this video knows how to calculate PER, win shares, box plus minus,
I don't even know what
replacement player.
A lot of these mean, but
and why should
you?
PER This is basketball, not Goodwill Hunting. So let's go back to the traditional stats that we all know and understand. But this time, let's add context to them. What do I mean by context? Well, some positions are simply better than others at racking up certain stats. Let's take rebounding as an example. In a vacuum, if we simply compare the number of rebounds per game of Brook Lopez and Jason Kidd, we might think that Lopez was the better rebounder. The truth is, relative to their positions, Lopez is statistically one of the worst rebounding centers in NBA history, whereas Kidd is statistically one of the best rebounding guards in NBA history. But even a poor rebounding center can grab more rebounds than a great rebounding guard solely by virtue of their roles on the court. So it makes sense that, to understand the context of a player's stats, we should compare them to the respective positions that they played. When comparing LeBron James to the other small forwards who have played at least 500 NBA games, this is where he ranks. Overall,
second in points, even those small forwards.
Jordan compares to all shooting guards who have played at least 500 NBA.
Okay, points every minute. Okay.
Games. As good as LeBron is compared to other small forwards, Jordan is on another level when compared to other shooting.
Look at that. Look at that. I mean, these are points and assists, rebounds. These are the main stats, so it's hard to say they're cherry pick stats.
Guards. He's darn near the top of every major statistical category, and there isn't a single category where LeBron is better than MJ relative to his position, other than assists. So to sum up statistics, whether comparing traditional stats or analytics, and especially when judging these players in the context of the positions they played, Jordan has a noticeable edge over LeBron. As such, we have to give the check mark to Jordan. And that takes us to the last category in our GOAT analysis, the eye test. And to be clear, by eye test, I don't mean which of these players is bigger, faster, or jumps higher. None of that is relevant unless we're having a track and field competition. And frankly, if physical measurables mattered, then Jordan Harrison would be in the GOAT conversation. No, what I mean by the eye test is, if he sat an average basketball fan in front of a TV to watch a player in action, what would he notice that the player is and is not great at? Thankfully, I happen to be an average basketball fan, and I've had the privilege of watching both LeBron and Jordan during their playing days. So unlike a lot of my fellow YouTubers, I haven't merely relied on highlight videos. Here's what my eyes told me when I saw Michael Jordan play, particularly during his playing days.
See what he's saying.
He was the best offensive player in the game. He was arguably the best defensive player in the game. He had the best mid-range game. He was the best finisher at the rim. He had the best post-up game, which is incredible considering most players who dominated the post were big men. He was widely considered the most clutch player in the game. He was regarded by
That's another great argument I had. Michael Jordan didn't have a weak spot in his game.
And when all was said and done, amongst the other stars of his generation, he was the greatest player. Now, when you're playing against the elite of the elite athletes of the world,
defense, offense, rebound, 3-point,
is pretty remarkable.
Fade away, drive to the rim, dunk, post rise, block,
it's impossible, but for the fact that we saw Michael Jordan
pass.
And when it comes to the GOAT debate, that's the biggest hurdle facing LeBron. He's basically being compared to a guy who was everything and practically had no weaknesses. Seriously, judging by the eye test, what's the worst thing we could say about Michael Jordan's game? Probably that he wasn't a very good three-point shooter. Jordan shot 33% beyond the arc, and the average player also shot 33%.
He was an average.
He wasn't good. He wasn't bad.
Guarantee he would have been better if he had to be better.
In an age when the three-point shot wasn't a big part of the game.
He's saying right now.
Teams averaged only 9.5 three-point attempts per game, and Michael himself attempted less than 2.
I want to give some thoughts, but I don't want this video to be too long. People get tired of it, and it'll hurt my watch time.
The difference is that LeBron plays in an era where the three-point shot
I'm trying to let it go without pausing
During the
it.
years in which LeBron played, teams attempted on average over 21 threes per game, and LeBron himself averaged 4.3 three-point attempts per game, or 2.5 times as many as Jordan. Despite the increased emphasis on threes, LeBron's career shooting percentage from beyond the arc is only a hair better than Jordan, at 34%. And it's actually slightly below his peers, who averaged 35% from three during his era. But to reiterate, being an average three-point shooter,
This guy is doing a great video.
For LeBron, it's not even close. LeBron, in fact, has 4 major weaknesses as a basketball player, each of which is readily apparent to anyone who has actually watched him play. First, he's not a good free throw shooter.
He can't
For his
shoot
career,
good.
LeBron has shot around 70%
Gotten better at shooting, but he's never been a great
which is
shooter.
pretty poor for a player who handles the ball as much as he does. In fact, many analysts point out that at the end of games, LeBron shies away from driving to the basket because he's afraid of being sent to the line. I don't know whether that's true, but what I do know is that the odds of LeBron hitting 2 consecutive free throws is statistically not much better than a coin flip. Jordan, on the other hand, shot a solid 80%
I remember this. Eyes closed.
line during his career. And MJ,
I'm telling you, and too, I gotta say this real quick. I don't want to make it quick, but I used to watch I watched both of these guys play, and just like that guy said on the eye test, when you see it, when you see both of them play, I've seen both of them play, and Michael Jordan, you look at him, you're like, oh my God. That guy's a better basketball player than this guy. This guy, LeBron is faster or whatever, it's more powerful, but this guy, Michael Jordan's doing things that normal people can't do. And it's just, and just like that guy said, it's not highlight reels. I've watched games from both of them, and I'm just telling you, Michael Jordan is a better player overall. He does not have... If he does have a weakness, the weakness is very minor.
They never shied away from contact at the end of games.
LeBron's sure didn't.
Weakness is that he's an inconsistent defender. Sure,
that was pretty bad.
Where he does elite defense, never
wow.
away from contact at the end of games.
Did you see that? He just throw his...
LeBron's second weakness is that he's an inconsistent
Oh my gosh!
Sure,
talk about lazy.
Where he was elite defensively, which is evidenced by his numerous selections to the NBA's all-defensive team. But he's also had several years where he's practically been a liability on the defensive end.
Look at that.
Compare that to MJ, who during his Bulls...
I saw too. Michael Jordan would have never done anything like that. He would have never just gave that. He gave every shot, every play, 100%. And LeBron just looked at that guy, and he could have put up a pretty good defense. You just watch the guy score.
Days was a consistent lead.
That's another thing I noticed when I watched LeBron. Even in the finals, he just didn't seem to have this fire in him. It was just, I don't know. It was strange. It's hard to put in words what I mean, but
defender. In fact,
this video is going to be an hour if I don't quit.
5 amongst all guards in both steals per game and blocks per game for his career. Additionally, Michael led his position in defensive
leadership. We got about 10 minutes in front of me. I'm going to get off for my 45-minute video.
LeBron comparatively,
I hope I get more than 5 views.
On just 4 occasions, and in 5 of his last 7 seasons, he didn't even crack the top 10 at his position in defensive win shares. Now, some will excuse LeBron's recent fall-off on the defensive end as a byproduct of his resting on defense so that he can have more energy on offense. And we can debate the merits of that strategy, but resting on defense is not something Michael Jordan was ever accused of doing. Heck, even as a 40-year-old, he was busting his tail on the defensive end. But what about the notion that LeBron's been the more versatile defender? LeBron supporters will argue that he can guard positions 1 through 5 on the court, such as when he guarded Derrick Rose in the 2000
if he gives
guarding the opposing team's point guard or center isn't something that happens very often. In fact, during his career,
I would say that he's very fast and he can guard
opposing players 1 or 5.
So the bigger wingspan
is highly exaggerated. And look, when it comes to versatility, Hometown Buffet may have a more versatile menu than Spago. That doesn't make it a better restaurant. LeBron's third weakness is that he's not a very good shooter.
Airball.
This is a pretty significant flaw for someone claiming to be the GOAT.
Good Lord.
Ball is the quintessential skill in basketball. It's the part of the game that everyone practices, whether on the playground, at the YMCA, or in the NBA. Now, some people will contend that LeBron is actually a better shooter than Jordan because he has a better career field goal percentage. And yes, LeBron's career field goal percentage is 50.4% compared to Jordan's.
That's so close. That's interesting. That is very shocking to me.
To help us understand context with
very shocking.
Allow me to introduce DeAndre Jordan.
Never would have guessed that.
We all know that DeAndre and Tyson were great rebounders and defenders. But what if I told you that they were also 2 of the greatest shooters of all time? That would be certifiably crazy. Yet if you look at all the shooting metrics, field goal percentage, effective field goal percentage, true shooting percentage, both of these guys rank near the top in NBA history. Of course, there's an obvious reason for that. As we all know, both DeAndre Jordan and Tyson Chandler take a lot of their shot attempts on dunks, layups, and putbacks, which are extremely high percentage shots. Well, guess what? So does LeBron James. In fact, every single year,
that's a good
the
point.
shot LeBron James has taken the most has been within 0 to 3 feet from the basket. In other words, dunks, layups, layups and putback.
Great point, because he gets most of his points inside and on these crazy charges. And like I said, I will give it to him. It's the best alley-oop finisher I've ever seen. And when he comes to when he charges to the basket, get out of the way. And okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I didn't think about that. And I was about to say that yeah, that's right. Free throw percentage also counts dunks and stuff like that. So that makes sense.
Backs. More than one of every 3 of LeBron's shots has been within this point-blank range, which is aided by his playing in an era where it's been relatively easy to get to the rim, particularly when compared to the physical era in which Jordan played.
That's a great point, because
LeBron is really effective from 0 to 3.
The game has really changed.
73% of these shots. But how does LeBron fare from outside this range? According to basketballreference.com, LeBron's shooting percentage from outside 3 feet is 37.5%. It's even poorer in the playoffs, where he shoots 35.9%. And it gets even worse.
There's another one you can judge by
2 minutes of games where the scores
how good an athlete performs when it counts.
Of his jumpers.
It's like Tiger Woods lives for like Sunday afternoon tournaments and the majors. Like he is so good. I know he doesn't, especially later in his career, he did not want to play, and he tried not to play anything but majors, because it's the only thing that he liked to play in, and he loved competing. He just loved it so much. Anyway.
Good. Which is probably why in the 2013 finals, the Spurs' defensive strategy against the Heat was to basically dare LeBron James to shoot.
I think Jordan was like that. So he just loved
Can you imagine an opposing coach using a similar strategy against MJ? Now, LeBron actually credits the Spurs for forcing him to work on his jump shot, but it's not as if his results have gotten much better since then. Here's LeBron's shooting percentage from outside 3 feet over the last 6 years. Yikes. Well, I'll give him this. He is consistent.
Okay, outside 3 feet.
Consider that in the last year of Michael Jordan's career,
What's Jordan's outside
the Washington Wizards, Jordan shot close to 42% from outside 3 feet. Well, that's certainly not great. It means that even as a 40-year-old shell of his former self, Jordan was still a better shooter, a far better shooter than LeBron James.
He took a lot more shots.
Unfortunately, Basketball Reference doesn't have advanced shooting metrics from Michael's Bulls days, when he was a significantly more efficient scorer. But few would argue that Michael
I love the way he used to palm that ball and
when he was
trick
wearing
people.
red and black. When it comes to shooting,
What did he say?
when he was a significantly more efficient scorer. But few would argue that Michael was anything but a lethal jump shooter when he was wearing red and black. When it comes to shooting, all of us can recall practicing shots on the blacktop, counting down 3, 2, 1 before launching a shot at the rim. Well, if you were pretending to be LeBron James, you'd brick almost 2/3 of the time. Actually, that's not entirely true. If you were playing against a countdown, it would be much, much worse.
Hi everyone, Mark Barton here.
Come on now, 38 minutes. I want to make this video to be.
And that gets me to the last major weakness of LeBron's game. His performance, or more accurately, lack of performance, in the clutch. Remember when people were praising LeBron for making a couple of buzzer beaters in the playoffs 2 years ago? They used these stats
Those were great
to LeBron
shots.
was better in the clutch than Jordan. But look at these numbers carefully. What stands out to you?
What stands out? Go ahead, shots in the final 5 seconds of the fourth quarter. I want to know. Okay, so he went 5 for 11. That's basically the same percentage. That's 6 more than 5 makes 11, and 1 more than 7, 8. 8 and 7 make 15. So that's that same percentage. Buzzer beaters. Let's see what he says.
How about this? People were using a sample size of less than 1 shot per season to make the case that LeBron was more clutch than Jordan. That would be the equivalent
Oh.
of just 100 people in the country to try to predict the winner of the next presidential. Even one LeBron was better in the flesh than Jordan. But look at these numbers carefully. What stands out to you? How about this? People were using a sample size of less than one shot per season to make the case that LeBron was more clutch than Jordan. That would be the equivalent of polling just 100 people in the country to try to predict the winner of the next presidential election. So let's use more telling stats.
Interesting point. This guy makes some very good points.
Determine a player's clutchness.
Who's this guy?
Fourth quarter
This guy, Danger Productions.
To either win or tie the game.
Go check him out.
Answers the age-old question.
It's a great video.
What do you
More
want to
his
take the
stuff.
last shot with the game on the line? It turns out that in the regular season and playoffs combined, LeBron has taken 94 such shots.
Okay.
That's a pretty good sample size. And how many of those 94 shots has LeBron made? 19. For a shooting percentage
19 for
of
90.
20%.
Okay, now
Let me
that's
repeat that. 20%.
pretty bad.
Guys, that's not bad in the clutch. That's atrocious. Michael Jordan in the same situation?
I can't wait to hear
shot
this.
roughly 50%. Yes, that's right. Jordan's performance under pressure was the same as it was throughout the rest of the game. And that,
Like Tiger
my friends,
Woods,
is
man,
the
when-
definition of clutch.
When
So there you go. When it comes to the eye test, our eyes tell us that one player, Michael Jordan, is great at everything.
it's on the
There's
line,
really no weaknesses.
Tiger and people like
And
Michael
the other player,
Jordan
LeBron
play
James,
better.
while also having a ton
Under
of strengths,
pressure.
has several
It's amazing.
obvious flaws to his game. And when all is said and done, after analyzing the 5 key factors of being the GOAT, Jordan gets 4 check marks to LeBron's 1, making this GOAT debate, well, not much of a debate at all.
It's
Now,
very hard to
don't get me
argue
wrong,
with all
I'm
that
not
stuff.
saying that LeBron James is a bad player. He's a phenomenal player.
I
Personally,
totally
I have
agree,
him on
but
basketball's
it's
Mount
just
Rushmore,
not
along with Jordan,
they should be
Kareem,
second.
Will Chamberlain, and Bill Russell. He's just
possibly.
not Michael Jordan. And just to underscore how good MJ was, let's ignore LeBron and Jordan for a minute and focus on the other 3 players highlighted here: Kareem, Wilt, and Bill Russell.
Have you ever noticed too? A point I made earlier. LeBron James said that whatever the shot he made him the GOAT. How many former basketball players have told Michael Jordan stories about how great he is? I can't even count. And he would never say how great he was. They would talk about. I remember Reggie Miller said he was trash talking him, and Michael Jordan wouldn't say anything, and then he would just, with his actions, he would show. And that's how you know. It's like that quote at the beginning of this video. But let's finish this up.
Most would agree that these are the 3 greatest centers in NBA history, and each of them has a strong case to justify
Good
his
argument.
standing among basketball royalty.
They
Wilt
have
is
a
an
great
all-time
case.
great because he was an offensive force of nature, and he holds a ton of NBA records. Russell is in the conversation because he was a dominant defender and a perennial champion.
And 11
Kareem
championship
also led his team to
rings.
numerous titles, and in terms of individual awards and accolades,
His
was
signature,
the most
baby.
decorated of the 3.
That shot can't be
He had
stopped.
the NBA's most
You're
unguardable
gonna
shot.
stop that.
Now imagine a center that had
You just said
all
it.
the best qualities from
Most
these 3
unguardable
titans.
shot.
A player like that would be the basketball equivalent of Thanos. Now add to that player the highest level of intangible attributes, such as a tireless work ethic, unmatched killer instinct, and an ability to deliver in the clutch. And now
LeBron
you'd
could
essentially
just
be looking
shoot
at Thanos
if he had
with
the
all of
touch that
infinity's
Michael Jordan
powers.
had.
And no one would question whether this player was the
They
greatest of
tell
all
him
time.
where you
But the
go.
truth is,
Or-
we don't have to imagine such a player. That player already existed. He just happened to be a shooting guard, not a center. When you think about it, Michael Jordan is the real-life version of an overpowered video game character. He had all the qualities we look for in a superstar athlete.
I don't know
And
which
he
2K
had
that
in
is. This is
spades.
4 years
He
ago,
was
so it's
basically
fine.
Babe Ruth.
What,
If Babe
2K20
Ruth
or
played
something?
defense like Willie Mays. And that's why,
3 years
even
ago.
in comparison to the other all-time greats, he is truly in a
21
class of
maybe.
his own. Simply put,
He is,
he's
man.
the GOAT.
And it is not because of his Air Jordans and just because he's been branded well. And I swear, it's not. I am a very open-minded person. It is not because of my bias. I am a Michael Jordan fan, but I'm a Michael Jordan fan because I believe that he is better than LeBron James. I mean, I do. I've seen both of them play, and it's nothing against LeBron. I'm gonna stop it there. It looks like the end, but nothing against LeBron, because I want to end this video. It's already 45 minutes, too long. But nothing against LeBron. LeBron's a great player, but he is not Michael Jordan. He just isn't, and the stats even prove it. The only thing he's done is play longer than Michael Jordan. And that's a discussion for another day. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a like if you enjoyed it. Also think about maybe hitting the subscribe button.